Hey everybody, Deplorable Bobby here. This is the way I see it. Before I get started, 2 1-ounce bars of silver, 999 pure silver, being given away this month to a subscriber who leaves a comment. Names go in a hat. Have somebody draw it out, just like at Christmas time drawing names. The name drawn will receive these 2 silver bars. That'll be on June 1st at 8 p.m. on a live stream. Today I want to talk a little bit about New Mexico and their demon rat governor and her just opening the southern border in New Mexico and all across the El Paso sector of the border. She's closed down all the checkpoints. So I want to give you a little idea of how that's working down there. New Mexico Governor Michelle Grissom withdrew 118 National Guard troops from New Mexico's southern border earlier this year. By doing that, she was called President Trump's policies a charade of border fear and fear-mongering. Last month, the Department of Homeland Security moved some checkpoints agents to other parts of the border to help process the huge number of migrants seeking asylum. Normally, if you drive from La Cruces, New Mexico to Alamogordo on U.S. Route 70, you'll be made to pull into a federal inspection station. But nowadays, the traffic just runs right on by there and pass up those big orange cones blocking the entrance to the checkpoint because it's closed. Custom and Border Protection has closed all checkpoints in the El Paso sector, which covers West Texas and New Mexico. Huey Griffin, he owns a barbecue restaurant there on the border near one of those closed checkpoints. And he's the chairman of the Ontario County Commissioners. And he was the driving force behind the county declaring a state of emergency over the checkpoint closings. Griffin is hoping that the governor will recommission National Guard troops back to the southern border, but it's not likely. Since the checkpoint closings, the El Paso sector has been overwhelmed by illegal aliens crossing into the United States undeterred, unchecked. Since the closings, illegal crossings are up 1,600% over the same time last year. 1,600%. Literally, hundreds are crossing the border every single day unchecked. All of Ontario's commissioners are Trump supporters, and they asked the demon rat governor to redeploy National Guard troops back to the border and reopen those checkpoints, and she said no. The demon rat governor says Ontario County won't checkpoints reopen. They need to talk to the Customs and Border Patrol people because it's not her job to reopen them. She also stated that the Ontario County Commissioners haven't given me any information about the county's emergency except for the fact that they're mad that those checkpoints are closed. So in other words, she's starting some anger language here. You know, she's blaming the people of Ontario County for being upset because the checkpoints are closed. Well, yeah, you should be upset when you've got border checkpoints that arrest people every day and stop drug traffickers and gun runners and human abuse violations. But if nobody's on the border in those checkpoints, those people are going to drive right on by. I guess that's what she wants. You know, it seems that the Democrats really want our country just flooded with illegal immigrants to the point to where they'll be the majority unless something is done. And it's got to be done soon. The demon rat governor says she's not going to open those checkpoints. She says the National Guard cannot do immigration work, so they can't stand at the checkpoints and they can't make arrests. So close the checkpoints and they will remain closed. There are 71 checkpoints along the southwest border. In just 8 months, checkpoint agents have seized 70 tons of pot and 1.5 tons of meth, all inside vehicles, people. And now we have all of these vehicle checkpoints closed all that pot and meth and everything else, fentanyl, just rolling right on down the highway, right into the United States. Ontario County Sheriff David Black is convinced that the closing of the checkpoints on Highway 54 have been a boon for smugglers because no one is on the border to deter these illegals from crossing the border with all of their drugs. They simply walk into the United States or drive into the United States with these drugs that are meant for us and our kids and everybody else in the United States that uses those illegal drugs. Sheriff Black says drugs are just piling into our communities unchecked. Black said he stepped up traffic stops by the sheriff's deputies, but only a fraction of the drugs seized by the sheriff's department compared to the seizures that did take place on those in those checkpoints on the southern border that are now closed. The governor of New Mexico has absolutely no intention of reopening El Paso sector checkpoints at any time in the future. Now the New Mexico border is being overrun with mules by the Mexican drug cartels following this demon rat's brilliant decision to remove our troops from the southern border with Mexico. But even though just last month saw drug shipments double after the checkpoint closings. It's a green light to these cartels in Mexico, and no one is manning the checkpoints, so come right on in. The cartels are capitalizing on this governor's stupid and dangerous decision on the southern border. Recently, the sheriff's officers have seized enough fentanyl to kill every man, woman, child in Texas and in New Mexico. The Juarez cartel has over 2,000 members, and they're coming across the border every day. There's a steady train of them coming back and forth, bringing drugs into our country. Authorities also fear that terrorists may be taking advantage of the abandoned checkpoints in order to sneak into the United States. Other New Mexico counties are planning to declare local emergencies, just like Ontario County did. There's going to be a domino effect when these other counties follow Ontario's lead. Unfortunately, New Mexico has a demon rat governor from hell who is only interested in politics and has completely lost touch with any of the people. The governor claims that there is no crisis on the southern border. It's all made up by Trump. There is no crisis, so she's not concerned. I'm convinced that we have demon rats just like her all over this country, and I'm convinced that we have demon rat politicians closing their minds to anything Trump. I don't know, maybe if Trump says, okay, let's open up the southern border, they'd say, no, let's close it. I mean, there was a time not that long ago when they funded a border wall. They were all for it. But it wasn't Trump's idea back then. I think it was Obama's and Clinton's and Bush's. I mean, they didn't give nobody stink on the border before Trump came along. So it's all Trump. Anti-Trump. Resist, resist, resist. I'm convinced that crime, drugs, trafficked children are all coming across that southern border. With these checkpoints closed, it's like a highway to heaven for them. Well, all I can say is this to the governor of New Mexico, and I hope this happens. I hope you have a horde of illegal aliens come camp out in your front yard. People, I'm Deplorable Bobby. This is the way I see it. We have illegals coming to a town near you. Stay tuned. Pray for our children. Pray for each other. I'll see you later.